Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Conversation series. This is episode 5. I am so excited because Nicole Renard is here with us today, and I am so thrilled. I am a huge fan of her. So I am going to let her give her spiel on who she is.
Hi, oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. This is such a treat and I'm just so excited about it. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Nicole Renard. I'm originally from a really small town in Washington State, but I live in Los Angeles. Right now, I moved here almost 2 years ago. I do a bunch of different things. So my job is very unique because I don't have a job. I'm a full-time freelancer, so I work for myself, which has its ups and downs. The best thing being that I have flexibility over my schedule. So one of the things I do is acting. So when auditions pop up or if I get booked for work, it's really usually easy for me to kind of rearrange my schedule because I don't have a job I'm tied down to. But my survival job, or as they say in the industry, is photography. I've had a photography business for over 11 years, and that has been a passion of mine for a really long time. But more recently, I have dipped into the content creator space, and a significant amount of my income comes from creating content for brands. So sometimes it's brands that want me to post on my Instagram or TikTok or YouTube channel, or they just want me to create content for their social channels. So I run a few different YouTube channels, including my own, and I also create videos, campaigns, and photography for other companies.
That is so we have to dive into your YouTube channel because it is like food heaven. If someone had ever you have 11.5K subscribers, which congratulations on that. That is like outstanding and insane.
Thank you.
But it is food heaven. Like you post like these different recipes and so many fun things that it's
Oh my
like
God.
watching it makes me hungry 24/7. Like I am watching it. You've been doing YouTube for you've had your channel for 10 years too. Is there a certain where do you want to take your channel? Is there certain things that you plan for your channel?
Oh, I mean, yes and no. It's funny because I've had my channel for forever, but people didn't start watching my videos until like a couple months ago. And it's very interesting the way that works. And I'm honestly thankful that now it's starting to grow and not before, because I didn't know what I was doing. I used to be so frustrated creating all these videos, and I'm spending so much time editing and filming and like pouring my heart and soul into these videos, and then they flop and nobody watches them. And I got to a point where I was like, is this worth it? Not that I wasn't passionate about it, but it wasn't making me any money. It was discouraging me more than anything. And I had to put it on the back burner because I had other priorities. So it never really was my main focus until actually right when I moved to LA. I bought a really expensive camera as a commitment to myself to take YouTube seriously. I was like, this is my chance. It's now or never. And if I don't actually give this a shot and see where it goes, who knows? So I bought this camera and I committed to posting once a week, and I started to learn so much and learn about YouTube, and things started to grow. But even then, I still wasn't very clear on what my channel was and what my purpose was until honestly quarantine. I was if you go in my channel and you look, as you scroll down a couple weeks, it's just kind of random videos. Like some are travel vlogs and some are how-to videos. A lot of them did revolve around food, but it wasn't until quarantine hit that I made the decision to stick with food. Because I just realized that is what I'm most passionate about. Obviously, there are other facets of my life and things that I do, and I think that's great. But for me, and where I'm going with my YouTube channel, it all points me in the direction of my life goals, and that's to host and produce a traveling cooking show around the world. And my thought process is to kind of reverse engineer that and think, okay, if that's the end goal, what comes before that and what step am I on now? Because if I can start creating that content on my own on my YouTube channel, and then as it grows just start expanding, and let's say I start in LA, I'm actually working on producing a series right now for YouTube that is like a behind the scenes of different restaurants in LA where I go into the kitchen and cook with different chefs, and then hopefully as that grows, I'll start to travel to other states and then hopefully other countries. And so I'm pretty much doing what I want to do, but on my YouTube channel. So that all kind of got halted with COVID because I was planning on launching that show May 1st. We have 3 episodes filmed right now, but once everything opens back up, we're going to keep filming and hopefully launch it by the end of the year. So that's kind of where I'm at in that space.
That is like everything you just said, like so totally just motivated me to like just get off my butt and just kind of like just go do it. So I love it. And
hey, hashtag do stuff. That's my tagline.
Right. And I think like during quarantine, that was a huge problem. Like everybody kind of like all the creators were like, what do we do now? Like, what do we all do? Because everything got shut down, but everybody's like, well, we still have all our cameras and stuff like that. So I think the creativity part of it kind of got challenged in quarantine. And I like it for me, especially, like I was like, how do I continue to put out content? What content do I continue to put out that people are interested in?
Right. And also I think like not only what's relevant, but like what's going to help people in this time. Because at first I got the first week of quarantine, I was so stressed and overwhelmed because I'm like, shoot, this has been my full-time job and it's not other people's. But now that everyone has so much time at home, I felt like everyone was just putting out content because now they had the time to. And there was like an oversaturation of photos and videos and YouTube and all these things. And I'm like, my stuff's just going to get lost in the shuffle. What's the point of me creating? And I think more than anything, I was looking at this stuff and I'm like, this is just noise. Like, it's not helping me. It's not encouraging. It's just like a video to be a video. And so I think I had to like take a step back for a second and be like, okay, regardless of what everyone else is doing, what can I create that's fun for me, but also like adds value to people's lives, because it's a really stressful time and we don't just need a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I totally completely agree with you. Like I'm kind of, if you go back and look at my videos, there's a gap of time in between like when I posted, when quarantine started, just because I was like, I had to take a step back and be like, what is the best possible plan for me to put content out that is actually going to make a difference in people's lives or actually say something to people?
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, it was such a hard thing for me to kind of wrap my head around.
Right. Yeah, totally. I get that. It's just a weird time to be alive. And now that things are starting to open back up, I'm also trying to figure out how to gracefully transition back and pivot again. It's all about like, can you pivot when things change? And it's really eye-opening and was a wake-up call for me to just be ready at all times and be flexible, because I typically don't like change and I resist it by all means. But this was just such a good reminder that I need to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, because everything's going to change. Always.
Okay, so you are so passionate about food. Do you consider yourself to be a foodie? Like, do you take on that title?
100%. Yeah, I mean, okay, so I guess I didn't say another big part of my business is I have a food and travel blog. It's called Nicole the Nomad, and it's kind of a combination of food, healthy recipes, but then also travel guides, travel itineraries, travel tips, all of those things. And so, pre-quarantine, I travel all the time. I mean, I'm usually not in one place longer for 2 or 3 weeks. And one of my favorite things to do when I go to new places is look up restaurants, because I'm not going to go to a new place and like hit up the Applebee's. Like, I want to explore. I want to go to the mom and pop shop. I want to go to the best bakery, the best coffee. And for me, it's just fun to experience new places and new menus and meet people. But it's funny because like my dad, for example, when we travel, he's like, if he wants a coffee, like, let's just go to the Starbucks. And I'm like, absolutely not. We can't just go to the Starbucks. Like, we're in Portland. They have amazing coffee here. So I'm definitely someone that cares about the experience, the aroma, and the food. Yeah.
That's awesome. What got you hooked on food? Like, was there a specific thing or did you just grow up and you're like, food is like what I love?
No, so I've always loved dessert. Ice cream's been my favorite food since I was a kid. I'd eat a bowl of ice cream with my dad every night. But I don't think that really started until college. I started baking my senior year of high school, and then I got hired as a pastry chef in college. So I worked in a commercial kitchen for 4 years doing desserts. And so that's kind of where that stuff started. But my junior year of college, I started traveling a lot. So I lived in New Zealand for 6 months, and I think it was there where I was really exposed to a lot of different things I had never eaten before and seen. And I was just trying to step out of my comfort zone and not be scared to try those new things. And that just got me excited about other places around the world and going to different restaurants, because aside from like Burger King, and a Starbucks. They didn't have anything, no restaurants that we have in America. So I was forced to go to new places. And so I think that's where all that started.
Which is like a kick in the butt, like for you to actually go, like it's like push out of the comfort zone to go and try things.
Oh yeah. And I was all by myself. Like I didn't go with any friends. I wasn't there with any family. So there was just a lot of new and a lot of changes. Scary at first, but definitely for the best. I'm so glad I did that.
I say congratulations because you did just release like a small ebook.
Thank you.
Which I have to be completely honest with you. I make an acai bowl every morning for breakfast. Like that is my breakfast every morning.
Aww.
And I absolutely love it. So will you tell everybody what your ebook is and like just what it is?
I'd love to. You know, it's funny. I just created it. I wanted to put some recipes together. I get asked all the time, like, what's the recipe? Can you post the recipe? And I do post a lot of them on my blog, but there are some that just never make it up or I don't have time and I forget. And these ones that I put in this ebook are my current 5 favorites. It's the 5 summer smoothie bowls. So they're all fruity, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to do another ebook in a couple of months that are all like chocolate based, like chocolate peanut butter, espresso mocha, like all those types. But this one is all fruity ones. It's a good balance of like sweet but healthy, because I realized when I started eating acai bowls and smoothie bowls before that was ever really a thing, when I really thought about it, I was like, this is essentially just a ton of fruit. And when you break it down, I would never in one sitting eat 2 mangoes, 3 bananas, and an orange all at once. But that's what was in my smoothie bowl. So I was like, this is not good for me. And I need to figure out how to still make this, but not be so sugary. And so I started experimenting with protein powders and adding fat like a nut butter, or adding frozen vegetables because you can't even taste them and it adds volume. So I'm like, I eat with my eyes and I'm like, if it's bigger, it looks better to me. Absolutely. And so if I can make it bigger volume wise with frozen vegetables, I'm still cutting out the sugar. I'm going off on a tangent, but all that to say, these recipes are built with that in mind, so that if you are trying to live a healthy lifestyle, you want that protein to fill you up and it's like a well-balanced meal. That's what these recipes are. So I love them and they're great.
Do you have like a favorite one that you love to make? Like, is there like a favorite flavor that you love to make?
Oh gosh, that's so tough. The standard one I feel like that I always go to is like a pitaya banana mango combination. Maybe some other like random fruit if I have it. But when I went home for Mother's Day a couple weeks ago, I had this idea to do a Capri Sun smoothie bowl. And it essentially was bananas, pineapple, strawberries, and then frozen Capri Suns as the ice. It's so good. And it's so simple too. Like it's just the fruit and the Capri Sun, but it's almost like sorbet. It's like a bright orange melon color and it's so beautiful. Like that recipe is in the ebook, and the picture I took, it's gorgeous. Like it should be on the cover of a magazine. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's so pretty.
Is like when you're in the kitchen and you're thinking about cooking, like, is there a recipe that you love to make, just like in general?
When I'm cooking for myself, I'm so simple because I cook so much for my videos that by the time it comes to my meals, I'm like, whatever. And I just make like the most basic things. But I love experimenting with bowls. So if I do like an oatmeal, like adding different things into that, or even like a bowl of sauteed vegetables with some kind of meat, almost like a Chipotle bowl kind of, and just mixing everything together. Love that. I'm trying to experiment more with mug recipes. I made a mug mac and cheese the other night, and it was really good. I haven't perfected the recipe yet, but when I do, I'm going to share it because I'm very excited about it. I'm on the hunt for the world's best mac and cheese, so it's very important business, and I can't just release any old recipe. But yeah, another thing too is I do bake a lot, and so there's a lot of sweets around all the time, and so I try to balance that out by eating really healthy for my actual meals. So yeah, lots of veggies, lean protein, nothing too fancy.
One thing I do love about you, like you are a Disney fanatic, and you actually have made like some of the Disney foods. It makes my Disney heart so happy.
Aww.
Because I'm like, I want to make this now. I like the Mickey Mouse, the head, like I was like, oh my gosh, she did it.
Yes, so I have an annual pass. I usually go to Disneyland once a week. I do a lot of photo shoots there actually, and it's my favorite place to be. Everybody knows that. I've been there like I'm trying to think close to 400 500 times in the last 6 years. So it's a lot. But one of my favorite things there is the food. I always get an ice cream cone. I love the pretzels, and when the park closed, I was like I want to feel like I'm at Disney. So I'm going to make these recipes. And then I threw them up on TikTok and people went nuts. And then I started finding little clips from videos, like the Disney movies that had the food in it. And I would play it at the beginning to show that that's what I was going to make. And everyone was like, "Wah!" So that we're doing like a Disney series right now. And I feel like I'm running out of Disney food. So if anyone watching this has any suggestions, holla at your girl because
comment them down below because
yeah.
I love seeing you make them because like I said, it makes my Disney heart so happy to be able to see them. I feel like I'm at the parks when I watch it, which is so awesome.
That makes me so happy. People have commented, they're like, do you work at Disney? Or like, you should work there. I'm like, what if Disney sees this? Maybe they'll hire me.
Yes. Give Nicole a brand deal of some sorts.
Oh my gosh. I said I was going to do this at 500K, but it happened a lot quicker than I thought. Now we're at like 800K. So I think my 1 million like goal is going to be to make a giant Disney castle out of Rice Krispie treats. We're almost there. So I'm at 800K right now. I think in a couple weeks, maybe I'll hit 1 million and I'm going to make a giant Disney castle out of Rice Krispie treats for that.
I am patiently waiting, and I need everybody to go follow Nicole so she can do this. So we all see this. That would be absolutely incredible to be at. Like, have you planned it out in some way, like that you know how you're going to do it?
Well, that's why. So I mentioned that I would do it at 500K, and I was trying to think in my head, like, realistically, how am I going to pull this off? And I couldn't think of it fast enough. And all of a sudden, we were at 600, 700, now 800. So it's been growing so fast, which is so cool. I'm very grateful. But I have two ideas. The first is to do it 2D. I was thinking like the beginning of the old movies where it's a blue screen and the castle pops up, and with that classic music, just to like get a blue card, like a blue poster board, and then lay it down on the ground and just build the castle on the blue, so when I stand it up it looks like the thing.
Absolutely.
Or actually make the castle like it looks at Disneyland and like stand it up on my countertop. I don't know. Both are gonna be hard, but I want to do it.
Like, but like I can't wait to see this now. Like I'm so excited to see this. So
I know I told so many people too that I have to do it. I just have to figure out how to make it work.
You talked about travel. And I just want to ask you a few questions about this because like that is what your kind of brand is. You're a nomad, and that's what you call yourself. Do you have like a list in your head of places that you have gone?
So New Zealand, Australia, Fiji, Israel, Mexico, Canada, Italy. I lived in Italy for a month. Scotland, England, Germany, Netherlands, Korea.
Oh, wow.
Shanghai. I was in Shanghai for a layover, so I don't know if that counts, but I did go to the Disneyland there, so I'm definitely counting that. I've been to like 30-ish states, so not all 50, but that's on my bucket list.
Very cool. Is there one?
Oh, in Peru. I went to Peru too.
Okay. Is there one that's like your absolute favorite, like that if you could go back right now, you would?
Well, New Zealand will always hold such a special place in my heart because I lived there. But I also loved Italy, would love to go back there, and I love Australia.
Okay.
I was supposed to go, I was hosting a trip, actually my first retreat. I was hosting in Greece the first week of May, and it had to be postponed because of COVID. But
where were you going in Greece?
We were going to start in Athens and then go to Santorini and Mykonos. If anybody wants to travel with me, we're going to do it next May, so be on the lookout.
Last summer, we did Paris, France, Athens, Greece, and Santorini, Greece, and it was like one of my favorite. Let me tell you, there's nothing to be able to describe. If I could go back, I would do Greece again. Like, it's absolutely incredible.
I'm excited. I'm excited to go. It'll be great.
Yeah. Okay, so I need your go-tos for your photography. Like, what are some of your go-to cameras and products that you use?
So I've been shooting with Canon for 10 years, and I just made the switch to Sony. I now shoot all Sony.
Okay.
I do my camera that I do for like my shoots is the A7R3, and then for vlogging I use the RX100 Mark 7. Both are really great. And then my lens that I have for that is the 24 to 70 2.8. I just like to use that because it's so versatile. It's a really good lens with a low aperture, but I can also zoom if I need to. So I've thought about getting a prime lens, but it's not first on my priority list right now because the one I have does what I need to do.
Yeah. We were talking before this, and I had told you that I was on Joby's website today, and I saw you, and I was immediately so happy about it. Can you, like, are you allowed to say how you got involved with Joby?
Yeah, actually, Joby just DM'd me on Instagram, their account, and they were like, hey, we think you'd be a great fit for our ambassador program this year. And I was like, sweet, send me info. And then I didn't hear from them. And I was like, that's weird. So then I reached back out because I'm like, I want to do this. And I was like, hey, I don't know if I missed your email, but let me know. Yeah. And then they sent the email, and it ended up being this really amazing partnership. And I love the company anyway. I already have a lot of their products. So it was just a really natural fit. And I get to work with them all year. And it's a cool thing because they have, like, I don't know if they've actually updated it yet, but we're going to have a space on their website. And they've been using a ton of the content I've created on their page, which is cool because I'll see their ads go by and I'm like, wait, that's me. I filmed that. So that's exciting. It's like a, hey, mom, look, it's me moment. But yeah, it'll be through the end of the year. So be on the lookout.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have, like, in your portfolio pictures, like, is there a favorite picture that you've ever taken, and where was it?
Ooh, so many. Most of my like, oh wow pictures landscape wise for travel are from New Zealand and Italy. So if you go on either NicoleTheNomad.com, all the pictures on there are ones I've taken, or I have a photography website as well, NicoleRenardPortfolio.com. You click on travel, all of my landscape shots are there, and like the New Zealand ones are always my favorite because that country is just so exquisite. There is one picture though that I have in mind. It's my favorite picture of all time, but I actually didn't take it. I'm in it. But I was in Yosemite with one of my friends who's a professional travel photographer, and she travels all the time worldwide for huge companies. So she's amazing. But she took this photo of me at Taft Point. Was it Taft Point or Glacier Point? It was Taft Point. In Yosemite, and it was one of the most epic sunsets I have ever seen in my whole life. And people that go to Yosemite regularly said they've never seen a sunset like that. And we were only there for 2 days. So the fact that we were on that rock at that time and she got that picture is just mind-blowing. And it's the coolest picture I think I have of myself ever.
I call myself, I'm a sunset enthusiast. Like, I live a great sunset. Like, I love.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I freak out. They're my favorite ever.
Yeah. One of the things I want to talk about, like, faith and church have been such a huge part of your life. And I love how true you are to sharing just God and everything on your channel. And I just think, like, there's not a whole lot of content creators who actually share that out there on their platforms. And I think, like, I just want to, like, what role has all of, like, faith and church played into your life?
Well, my faith is the most important thing to me. It's always been at the center of everything I do. And as a content creator, I never feel like forced or pressured to post anything about that, but it is such a huge part of my life that a lot of my ideas come from like things that God's told me or moments in my quiet time where I'm like, oh wow, that's really encouraging. I want to share that because if it encourages me and gives me hope, I'm like, I'm not the only person going through this, and this could probably encourage somebody else. And it's so funny because I feel like the messages that end up reaching the most people, or not even the most people quantity wise, but the people that it needs to reach, they're always the messages that I almost didn't post. They're the ones where I'm like, should I do that? Like, I'm afraid, or maybe I shouldn't. And then every time I do, I get a DM or I get a message or something from someone that says, I really needed that today. And it just reminds me that like, oh, this is not about me. This is so much bigger than me. And how cool that God used me to reach that person. Like I'm literally just a vessel. It comes from him and it's going to her or him and it's going through me. Like it has nothing to do with me. I'm just the one it's going through. I'm the channel. And when you can open yourself up to let yourself be that channel and realize that God wants to and can use you to like work things through you to other people, it's the coolest thing to be part of that. I love it.
Yeah. And so, well, I want to dive in because I think you mentioned this earlier. You on your Instagram, you have this hashtag do stuff. Can you tell me what your hashtag do stuff is?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So in college, this is before I started my blog, I was making a list of all the things I wanted to do. I'm a big goal setter. I'm really big about having big dreams, setting goals, like how we're going to get there, write it down, make a plan, all of that. And so I had this journal and I would write down everything I wanted to do. It was like a college bucket list and I'm writing down the craziest things. And then I realized that I was spending way more time making this list than actually doing the stuff. And I'm like, how lame is that, Nicole? Like, get up and do stuff. That's literally how it happened. And so at the time, I wasn't a very good writer and I was in film school and you have to be a good writer if you're going to like write for TV. I created a blog as a challenge to myself to become a better writer, but also as a way to keep me accountable because every time I would do something on the list, I would check it off and blog about it. And it was just for me. Yeah. So I started going on these adventures and actually doing the things on the list and I was crossing them off and blogging and nobody read it and I didn't care. But that's when I got hired as a pastry chef. So it started off as the Do Stuff blog. And when I got hired as a pastry chef, I was cooking and baking a lot. And a lot of the people I was serving wanted my recipes. So I thought, well, I'll just throw them on the blog because nobody reads it anyway. So then that's where the food stuff came in. And then that next year is when I moved to New Zealand and I traveled to 9 countries that year. And I'm, you know, as a photographer, I'm taking all these incredible photos around the world. And it occurred to me that, oh, like people probably want to see and know about this stuff. So I should put it in the blog. And then I changed the name to Nicole the Nomad, but kept the hashtag do stuff because every time I was posting about these things and adventures I was going on, I would use the hashtag. And I noticed that my friends were starting to post when they would do something exciting or when they would go on a trip or go on a new hike and they would hashtag do stuff. And it was encouraging people to like be the type of person that when you say you're going to do something, do it. Don't just talk about it. Like, don't just talk about going on that epic road trip to Utah. Like, pack the car and go on the road trip. Like, I want to be that type of person that when I say something, you can count on me. I'm not just going to say it and forget. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to show up and like show up to life because when you do, that's when amazing things happen. But I think so often it's just easy to sit on the couch and be like, oh, well, one day that'd be cool. And like dream up all these things, but nothing will happen unless you get up and do stuff. Absolutely. So that's what all that is.
That is fantastic. And I love like that story because I think so many people they make their bucket list, but then they get so caught up in other pieces of their life that they just don't go out and do it.
Right. And I think another big part of that too is that I know I experienced this is that I wasn't doing stuff because I was afraid. I felt like I wasn't ready. I'm like, oh, well, maybe in a little bit, but like I need to like get myself together. I need to learn more. I need to be whatever. And the reality is I'm never going to be ready. And so no matter what it is, sure, you might not like summit the mountain on the first day, but like do something. Right. You don't have to do the big thing right now, but like just do something to get out there and put yourself, like take a step out in faith, you know?
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. I have to ask the kind of the basic question to you as to what you've been living in LA for 2 years. What life is like living in Los Angeles?
It's crazy, man. I honestly, like, just to bring back the faith thing, I don't know how people do it without Jesus because I love Jesus and I'm still like, sometimes it's still a struggle. So year one definitely slapped me in the face. It was a tough year and I learned a lot, but I'm very thankful for everything that happened because I'm much stronger and mature because of it. Yeah. But I love the city. I love the hustle and bustle. I love being in Hollywood, especially because in the entertainment industry, it's just fun to be in the middle of it all. And I love that there's always something to do. You know, I'm the do stuff girl. And so I get bored easily. And I love the fact that I can go on a hike or go to the beach or go to Disneyland or just, there's so many things to do. I never get bored. the traffic isn't my favorite, but I live in a place where I can kind of avoid it if I can, because I work for myself. So yeah, for me, there's more pros than there are cons. And I think they're the most incredible people in the world here. So that's a huge part of it too.
Yeah.
If you have a good community and you're surrounding yourself with people that are building you up and encouraging you, then it makes a huge difference.
Everybody who I've talked to, or the few people that I've talked to that live in Los Angeles, they say that it is a grind. You grind to make your name out in Los Angeles. And I think that is what Los Angeles is. It's just a ton of people who are grinding to make their name in the world.
Well, and it's tricky because there are a lot of people here, and 90% of them are in the entertainment industry, but unfortunately a lot of people will do whatever it takes to get to the top, and they'll climb all over people and they'll step on you. So you have to be smart, but also like I don't feel like I have to do that. I know that I'm called to be different and I approach things differently. But I'm also aware that there's always somebody working harder than me. Right. So I can sit back and not work hard and not work on that project or not go do that audition or not whatever, but somebody else is. And somebody else is staying up till midnight working on that script or whatever. And like, I want the job. I want the one to get the email that says I booked it. So that always encourages me to be like, oh, you want to complain, Nicole? You want to not do it, Nicole? Like, come on. So I think there needs to be a healthy balance, because I also come from a background of like never giving myself a break and never stopping, because as the do stuff girl, I started to believe the lie that my worth and value come from what I do rather than who I am. And I just want to make that clear, that above all, I think it's more important to be stuff than it is to do stuff, because we are human beings, not human doings. But
absolutely,
also to know when you need to like kick it into gear and remember that like you're ultimately the one that decides what happens if you choose to do something or not. You know, there's a lot of things out of our control, but we have the opportunity to show up every day, and I want to do that. So
absolutely. What is the biggest thing, or what inspires you to create?
I mean, Jesus, he's the center of everything, and I feel so called to be in the lane that I'm in, doing what I'm doing. And so at the end of the day, I'm just reminded of my purpose, in that it's not about what I do or how many followers I have, because if he said it, it's going to happen, and he's going to be the one to make it happen. So all I have to do again is show up and say yes. And so that's exciting, because so many cool things are happening that are not me. Like, it's literally not me. It's not coming from me. It's all Jesus. I cannot say that enough. But also people, like the community and the family that has grown on my channels is encouraging to know that they look forward to seeing my videos every day. And like, sometimes I'm like, oh, this isn't worth it. It's not making a difference. Nobody cares. And then I'll get that comment that's like, oh my gosh, you make me so happy. This brings joy. Like, I've been so sad this week and I look forward to this. And I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. It is reaching people. It is making a difference. So people, I think, really encouraged me. And then also just knowing how much opportunity is out there. And you can do anything. Like, I can literally, with all the skills that I have and all these like things around me, I could go in any direction and make something incredible. Like, all of these opportunities and resources can be turned into something if I do something with them, you know?
I agree. Like, people as a creator, like, people are so important in the following that you have. I love to kind of like how food is for you in a way. It's been like sports and hockey for me. So that is such a huge part of my life. And I love sharing that part with people. And I tell my stories through that. And I will get people who comment and be like, I was at this game and this was my first experience. And it kind of motivates you to be like, I'm helping other people tell their stories and how somehow or the other this has impacted their life. Totally. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Because I think like it's so important to tell your story, but it's important to hear other people's stories too, because it's
totally.
Because I don't think sometimes that people know that, like, tell your story. It's important to tell your story, and because like you said, somehow or the other, it might make a difference on somebody else's life out there, and you don't even know it.
Totally. I love that.
What's your biggest piece of advice that you would give to somebody trying to get into this crazy world of content creating or just creating in general?
Ooh, there's so many things. I feel like it's a two-part answer for me. The first part is when you're just starting out, like when you're starting out from scratch and you kind of don't know what you want to do, give yourself the freedom to try everything. If you have multiple passions, if you have a lot of things you think would be cool, try them. Who cares? If you don't have a following, like that's great because you can try a bunch of stuff and if it flops, nobody sees it. Like you'd rather have something fail and fall flat on your face in front of 1,000 people than in front of 1,000,000 people. So like, don't put so much pressure on yourself to make the next best thing as your first piece of content because it probably won't be, but you can't make your 50th without making your first. So like make the first one, hashtag do stuff, just get out, do it, let it fail, know that it's going to fail and be okay with that. And then be like, great, moving on. And then keep moving. And then I think as you start to get in the groove, you're going to learn so much and figure out like what you like and what's working and what's not. And then I think it's just so much easier when you try everything to have a clear vision of kind of what it looks like and where it can go. And that's when I suggest narrowing it down. Pick one or two things that you want to stick with and then go all in. Like
Absolutely.
That for me, I think I wish I would have gone all in with food a long time ago because I didn't. I was trying to do photography, traveling,
right,
being an influencer, food, like all these things, and it was actually hurting me. So don't feel the pressure to do it right off the bat. Like try a bunch of things and fail, and then when you decide what you want to do, then narrow it down and then go all in. And I think by then it will all make sense. Like obviously you're still going to learn and grow through the whole journey, but by then you're going to have learned so much and kind of figured out what works for you, and it's going to be a lot less stressful.
Yeah. I think that like that is perfect advice to give to somebody because I think everybody tries to be perfect straight off the bat and that's just not what it is. Like you have to figure out what your message is and what you want to put out to your subscribers and followers.
Right. And also be able to pivot, be flexible, because if this year has taught us anything, it's that one, you can't control what happens in the world and anything that's going to like we're in a global pandemic, but
right.
Also the apps change, Instagram changes, TikTok changes, YouTube changes. And if you're not ready for those changes and you're not able to adapt your brand and what you want to do, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Your brand, your person not gonna die, but you know what I'm saying? Like you have to be able to be aware of these changes and like when it happens, adjust and get over yourself, get over the fact that you wanted to post that video then because it's not gonna happen. Just pivot, move on.
Well, I think that's the funniest thing too, because when the pandemic started, it immediately like there were so many people on Instagram. Instagram was kind of like the hit, and it immediately switched to TikTok. Like TikTok has become one of the biggest social media platforms to post on. And I think like as creators, like everybody's gone from, whoa, how do we now take what we were posting on Instagram and on other platforms and create it into this fun new way to share it with people on TikTok?
Totally. Funny because I was on TikTok before all that happened and the app was very different back then. I remember going through my For You page and I was like, there is not a lot of good content on this app. And it was kind of exciting for me because it was like, I know I'm confident in my ability to create content. And if I can be the person that's putting out these awesome videos, like there's a huge opportunity here. But then once the pandemic hit, everybody got on the app and it just the whole thing changed, and there's so much more, there's more variety, more content, more types, more categories, which is really great. It's just different. So you have to be able to pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. You kind of mentioned briefly, but will you just give us a rundown of stuff we should be looking coming from you soon, like just major projects and things that people should be on the lookout for?
Ooh, well, hopefully before the end of the year, I'm going to launch that series on my YouTube channel called A Taste of Your World. And so definitely look out for that. Also hoping to release new Smoothie Bowl ebooks regularly. So there'll be new recipes every time. And it's like $1, $2 or something. So it's like really cheap, super great. But I think just in the near future, lots more Disney recipes, a lot more Smoothie Bowl recipes. And I'm hoping don't know how this is going to work yet. Still figuring it out, but I want to release merch. So like aprons, cooking things, cookbooks, that kind of stuff. So yeah, be on the lookout. I'm super excited. Can't wait. Lots of fun stuff.
And we have to get Nicole to 1 million so we can see this Disney creative
Disneyland Castle
that I am absolutely so excited to see now. Like, it is going to be so fantastic and cool.
I can't wait
to see it. I cannot wait to see it. So I want to thank Nicole again for coming on here. I am, like I said, I'm a huge fan of her work. And you guys, I will have all of her socials linked down below so you can go check her out, give her a follow, and just continue to follow her from her whole journey. But if you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe down below, and I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.
Yay.